Assalamualaikum. Good afternoon. My name is Nurabila Aisha and I'm presenting my final project with the title Enhancing Mid-Level Career Progression Through Strategic Workforce Planning at Prodwa. Over the next 10 minutes, I outline the context, the HR use we found, the method having used, the solution that we have developed, and including a redesigned onboarding SOP, which is the pilot result and the practical recommendation for Prodwa. Let's begin with why this project matters. So for the next slide, we're going to talk about the introduction, or we can call it context. So the Malaysian automotive sector is undergoing rapid change, which is automation, digital tools, and moves towards hybrid and electric vehicle. Prodwa is well positioned but must make sure its workforce, especially mid-level staff, can keep up. This project ran over 12 weeks in collaboration with the Prodwa HR with a focus aim strength workforce planning so mid-level employees have a clear career route and better development support. Alright, we're going to the next slide, which is slide 3. We're going to talk about the problem statement. So we identified there are 3 core problems. The first one is the career plateaus, which is the mid-level employee lack visibility and structure progression. And the second one was the tenure-based promotion. Promotions often rely on years served rather than competency. And the last one was the no visible succession pipeline, which is there is a limited talent readings when key staff transition. Each of these undermines retention, motivation, and long-term leadership continuity. The next slide, which is for the 4th slide, we're going to talk about the project objective. So the project have 5 target objectives. The first one was improve workforce planning practice. Second one was the standardized onboarding with a new SOP. Third, create a competency based on the career pathway. And for the 4th, improve promotions fairness through a data. And the last one was the strength mid-level leadership readiness. Everything we present connects back to these goals. So for the next slide, we're going to talk about the methodology. We use a mixed approach: semi-structured HR interview via Google Meets, a Google Form survey for mid-level staff, external benchmarking, SOP drafting, and pilot simulation. Data collection and pilot testing happen between weeks 5 and 9, with monitoring and final validation in weeks 10 until 12. This makes ensure practical relevance and data validation. So for the next slide, the key findings that we found. So key survey result was striking, which is the first one. 67% reported unclear career path. And next, 74% said workload spiked during a peak season limit development. Third, 59% identify skill gaps. And the next one, 46% said onboarding lacked sufficient depth. And the last one, 81% asked for more training. These numbers show the problem is widespread and that employees want development opportunities. The next slide, we're going to talk about the operational impacts, which is the operational knock-on effects, including supervisor spending excessive time retaining new hire, postpone leadership training, reduce quality during the turnover spikes, and increase stress and fatigue. Together, this factor weaken Prodwa internal talent pipeline and directly affect the production continuity. So the next slide, we're going to talk about the workforce planning strategy. So to address the issue, we promise a set of complementary strategies, which is the first one. We start with strategic redistribution of staff to reduce the mismatch. And then the second one, we string the TNA driven upskill programs. And the third one, a competency metric for the mid-level roles. Next, a clear career pathing and promotion criteria, and the last one, a 9-box talent review and improve onboarding SOP. These work together to reduce operational loads and create the learning space for the supervisor. Alright, so the next slide we're going to talk about the onboarding SOP deliverables, which is the primary deliverable was a standardized onboarding SOP, which is it include a step-by-step process flowchart, a structured induction checklist, role-specific training modules, and communication guideline between HR and supervisor. The SOP was designed to be practical and easy to implement. For the next slide, which is the SOP pilot results. We pilot test the SOP and measure 5 evaluation metrics, which is the first one was the progress completion rate. We got a 95%. And the next one was the data accuracy. We got a 92%. And also the third one for the SOP validation, we got the 90%. And also the next one, pilot effectiveness, we got the 88%. And the last one, stakeholder approval, we got the 94%. These are strong, consistent results showing clarity, feasibility, and stakeholder buy-in. The pilot also surfaced minor timing and communication tweaks that were incorporated before finalizations. The next slide was the expected outcome that we expect. So with the implementation, Produa can expect the optimized staffing, improve the productivity, stronger the technical and leadership skill, favor operational disruption, and higher employee satisfaction. And for the one and only long-term cost efficiencies, especially via reduced overtime and lower recruitment costs from turnover. For the next slide, we're going to talk about the recommendations, which is to testing the gains. I recommend the digitalizing onboarding to track progress and automate the reminders. We can also implementing a competency tracking system that links to training to promotional criteria. And next, we can launching a formal mentoring program for the mid-level staff. And the last one, we can scheduling annual SOP review plus ongoing training needs analysis. So I think this step will keep the approach adaptive and measurable. In summary, the project met its objective. The SOP was validated and accepted by the board of HR, and the workforce planning framework provides a practical, data-driven path to the strengthened mid-level progression. Implementing the recommendation will support Produa readiness for the industry change and secure a stronger leadership pipeline. So that's all from me. Thank you.